Welcome to Get in the Ring with DJ D Coops and B Smut on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. It is Get in the Ring on the Social Suplex Podcast Network here. And this is going to be a little bit of a different flow here. We're going to talk about wrestling and music as I have Joey Haynie of the Rock Strikes 10 Music Podcast. And Joey, tell us about yourself.
Thanks for having me on, first of all, Danny. It's great to be here. Yeah, like Danny said, I do the Rock Strikes 10 podcast. We have a whole network of shows on the website, cnjradio.com. C as in Chris, N as in Nola, J as in Joey, cnjradio.com. And we do my Rock Strikes 10 show. There's a Synaptic podcast, also another great music show. We do the Wrestling House Show, which is our flagship since like 2008. There's The Last Theater, which is a great mostly horror and cult and exploitation movie podcast with Chris, who I couldn't do any of this without him. We're currently doing a Nightmare on Elm Street series, franchise wrap up right now. Part 1 just dropped yesterday. We also have Talking Rock with myself and Mark Striegel, and I Am Vinyl with the great Pete LaRussa, a good friend of mine, a vinyl specific podcast. So, as we're all being shut-ins right now, you have a lot of great entertainment options that are definitely free on cnjradio.com. Is that good enough of a pitch for you?
That is a great enough pitch. And how did you get Mark Striegel on your network?
Mark's a friend. I've done some stuff with him in the past, and I feel like I don't deserve him right now at this point because we haven't posted a Talking Rock in a while, but he's a good guy, and he's been nothing but great to me, and whenever our schedules both link up, we do a couple of those, and it's an honor to have him on here. And Talking Rock is something that we can both do very well. So that's why we do Talking Rock. So
and not talking metal, which he does.
Yeah.
On his
own.
And
I can talk metal, but that's his show, and that should always be like his show. So we just came up with a cool spinoff. He actually was doing Talking Rock years before I got to him with this. It was just kind of something he wanted to bring back that he hadn't been doing as of late. So I'm trying to keep the lights on. Hopefully some more episodes will be coming out soon. But the ones that we have out are good, so I recommend those as well.
Right. And we're going to talk about music mostly, but also a little bit about wrestling. What do you think about this whole WrestleMania thing?
Oh, man. I mean, what can you do? I mean, there's nobody to blame in the world of wrestling for this. So I'm not going to be how can you be one of those guys that's just going to complain about something that even they have no control over? And they literally have no control over this. None of the companies have any control over whether they do business right now. The independent feds, same thing. I mean, it's interesting to see. And not funny, but interesting to see what the fallout is for Mania not happening as a live event. All the companies that base a lot of good business during that week, as piggybackers, and don't get me wrong, I love the piggybackers. Part of the reason for going to Mania at this point for me, and the 3 times that I've been, have definitely been for the indie shows that are wrapped around it, and of course WrestleCon and things like that. But man, just the domino effect that it takes on the business is insane. It's just it's unprecedented, and I feel bad. I'm really glad there's people out there that are making a good living that are trying to help. I saw Mustafa Ali that if you don't know, did you hear about what he did a few days ago?
What did he do?
So there was that warehouse wrestling show that was going to take place around Pro Wrestling Tees over in Chicago, and they were going to stream it and the whole thing, and they were going to have a very small group of people that showed up, put on matches and stream it online, and they were going to make it like kind of a live GoFundMe kind of thing where, hey, if you like this guy, feel free to throw in a tip, that kind of shit. And Ali like basically went on Twitter and said, I'm going to fund the entire event here, and I encourage anybody in my position to do the same thing. And I was like, man, that guy.
Mustafa Ali is a cool guy. He is.
I mean,
don't be Braun Strowman in this situation. Be a Mustafa Ali.
There you go. Yeah, we almost don't deserve him as a people, but he is one of the good ones. So, once you get back under,
going out and donating to independent companies.
Yeah.
A lot of WWE guys are doing that too, and Evil Uno is donating to independent guys.
Oh, well, he's just trying to get people to join the cult. Don't buy into what he says. No, I'm just kidding. But, even like people you can pick on, and I have in the past, like Impact, they're apparently going to be paying their workers while they're out of work. Things I didn't expect to happen are happening. So it's really cool. Like music, just the arts in general, and wrestling is an art, as we all know. Right. Music and wrestling and all the arts seem to be very high on supporting themselves in this time. And that's cool because it doesn't seem like the government's going to do anything about it. I know that's a different show, but, I'm just glad to see that there's some unity going on here. And it can only be better for that reason. I hope once this thing is inevitably done with, then, it'll kind of stay that way. I mean, it probably won't, but it's nice to see it right now. And everybody support everything you can. It's just like supporting small businesses that you don't want to see go out of business. If you're in a position to do it, it's great to do it now. So.
Yes, it's very nice to see.
I'm laying a lot of track here. Sorry.
Yep, you are laying a lot of track. It's fine, it's cool. What was I thinking? Music festivals are taking a huge hit, and the rock festival community have taken a hit too, as the DWP festivals have canceled their big three music festivals for May, but they offered a great solution for their fans. Did you see that today?
Oh no, yeah, I'm curious.
So I'm gonna go to the Sonic Temple website right now.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm sorry, I didn't come prepared, but
it's okay. We did this on the fly here today. So.
We did this on the fly. I just called Joey like a half hour ago. Not a half hour ago, but so they're offering full refunds, which a lot of festivals aren't doing.
Yeah.
Or you could apply for your pass for 2021, or exchange your pass for another 2020 DWP festival. They're also they're doing a fourth day of Louder Than Life festival. They're adding Thursday, and they're making that free. And Metallica's back at Louder Than Life.
Yeah. Weren't they doing 2 nights this year, where like each night is unique?
Yeah, each night's unique. So Metallica's back at Louder Than Life. They originally pulled out because James had sobriety things, and then you can get your pass at $1 down, and no payments start until May 3rd.
Yeah, I think they should start. They should be able to take payments when everything is kind of like, when the coast is clear. At least that's what I think all these places should do. And a lot of people that are scheduling their makeup dates, I think, ought to wait and see on that. I think it's weird. I don't know if it's some sort of legal contractual thing that people have to kind of stay active in the status of these things, like people postponing tours instead of canceling them, because if you cancel them, you got to do full refunds, and of course nobody wants that. But I think they should be able to get a pass to say, hey, look, we'll announce the shows when the coast is clear. And I think people are being already, as of today, they're being a little presumptuous about when they can start playing shows, because nobody knows right now.
Right, nobody knows, and nobody really does know.
Yeah. But by the way, speaking of Metallica, they announced just a few hours ago, as of this recording, that they're going to do some interactive stuff online. Basically what they're doing is they're calling it Metallica Mondays. They're going to stream a free concert every Monday, a recent full-length show, for free on their YouTube page. So usually they post like a song or two from a night, but this is going to be like, if you want to see a full concert, you miss the live experience, you can watch a whole show for free on their YouTube page. And, those guys, whenever shit goes down, Metallica is always there to step up, whether it's the fires or what's going on right now. And, they're good dudes. People can say what they want about them, and they will, and that's fine. They can take it. But those guys, man, they give it up, and they're, they're completely independent now. So that's all out of their pocket.
Yep. Metallica is very cool about what they do, and I love them, of course, because Metallica are badasses.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
What have you been listening to lately?
Oh man, yeah. So I did that whole big thing on my show, over the last couple of months where I did the top 100 albums, in my opinion, of the last decade. And
yep. I'm slowly going to start to get through that, Joey. I have a lot of podcasts I need to listen to.
No, it's all good, man. I don't care if someone listens today or next year or 10 years from now. As long as they hear it at some point, it's all good. But, over the last couple of years especially, not so much early on in the decade, but I found a handful of really quality new metal bands that, I think definitely my wheelhouse of taste as far as modern heavy metal goes is definitely going to be bands that, have a big nod to the past. It's another reason, of course, why, I got into Ghost and things like that, Night Flight Orchestra. But there's two newer bands that are really killing it right now, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. One is a band from California. They're called Haunt, Haunt, Haunt. And they play, Haunt, like in a ghost.
The band?
Yeah. And they play great throwback heavy metal, almost like pre-thrash heavy metal, but like with thrash kind of coming into the picture a little bit. It's like that, like 83, 82 kind of era.
Their album called Burst into Flame.
Yeah. There's. What's that?
And Mind Freeze.
Yeah, Mind Freeze is their latest one, and Burst into Flame was their first one. And they did If Icarus Could Fly between that. And they've basically put out 3 albums in the last 2 years, with another one on the way already. What's that?
From Fresno, California.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, I'm looking them up right now.
Yeah. So they're great. Like I said, good throwback metal, just really good. You can understand the lyrics. I'm big on that whole thing. So yeah, a good melodic singing voice. Just had that great classic heavy metal sound to it. And then the other one was this power trio from England, and they're called Puppy.
Oh, yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I am obsessed with that album right now. The way it's called The Goat. And it's like
yes, I've heard of this album.
Yeah, and I can't stop listening to it. So that's almost all I could say about it. But I got into him through my friend Pete LaRussa, who does the I Am Vinyl podcast. Someone turned him on to it, and his description was great because he was like, it's like Helmet musically, but it's like if Donnie V from Enough's Enough was their lead singer. So it's like crunchy ass metal. What's that?
Sorry.
That's okay.
So you continue. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. As I say, it's just like heavy metal with like good, harmony vocals, like real pop vocal, but with the really good riffs. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
That's
check them
nice.
out. Yeah, Puppy. Like I like him so much. I've already bought the shirt. Like I was buying the shirt as I was buying the record. It just got me right away. So.
Yeah, my friends Crash Thompson really likes them, and Rocked liked them. YouTube music critics said I really like them. Another band that I really liked is Pup. They had this album called Morbid Stuff. Pup.
Oh, just Pup? P-U-P?
Just P-U-P.
Okay. We should get them to tour together.
We should. They're Canadian.
Ah.
They've had this song called Kids and Morbid Stuff. It's like honest to God good, like not like Fall Out Boy pop punk, but like really morbid, truthful pop punk.
Okay.
Like like good punk rock, really. It got really good critical acclaim on like Pitchfork and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
really good stuff. And Spanish Love Songs, another pop punk pick here called Brave Faces Everyone. Another really good album. They are from where are they from? They're from California. They're from Los Angeles. And they have the single Kick Out right now, which is being shipped to active rock stations. Um, so yeah, I really like them. Any other good bands you're into right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, what were they called again?
Love songs.
Spanish love songs. All right. I'm writing that down. So, I said those two bands were the two newest things that I really have been getting into. And man, I should have. See, I didn't come prepared either. Those are on the brain right now. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
didn't come prepared, but we can just
I
shoot the breeze about
yeah,
music. So
yeah, yeah. No, I started listening again to a band that came out a couple of years ago. They were kind of a side, I guess, a side band in a way because all the other people, it's not a super group because they're not household names, so you can't call it that. I call them side bands in that case. But people from good bands though. Don't get me wrong. It's just not household names sometimes. But that band Gone is Gone. Have you heard of them?
you've mentioned them on your show.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the guys. It's the singer from Mastodon, and it's him and Troy Van Leeuwen, who was in Failure and Perfect Circle, and the drummer from At the Drive-In and Mars Volta. I think he's
I
definitely the
would
drummer.
call that a supergroup.
Yeah. Oh, in a sense of like the bands for sure. It's just like it's not like like I said, they're not the guys by themselves are not household names. So that's why I was doing. I
No, the
wasn't
guys
doing that to be
themselves are not
disparaging. So
household names. Like
yeah, yeah,
Troy
but
Van
just
Leeuwen's
great.
on the guitarist of Queens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Played on some albums that sold a few copies for sure. That's for sure. But yeah,
At
they
the
have
Drive-In is a big influence on like pop punk and the emo scene.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they've got like they've got a full length and an EP out, and they've got a couple of newer singles that came out in the last year or so. And those are all, out there online and stuff like that. But really cool band. Like their full length is one of those albums you have to kind of listen to all the way through because it doesn't really stop.
Right.
So it just flows. But yeah, I was listening to that again the other day.
Have
Good
you,
good soundtrack for the apocalypse that we have going on right now. That's for
have you
sure.
ever heard of this band called Spirit of the Drift?
I've heard the name, but I haven't heard them.
They're a band from Austin, Texas. My friend Mark,
Hmm,
he's a YouTuber from his YouTube channel is called Spectrum Pulse. He got
okay.
me into them. They're from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, cool. Okay.
They're a two
But
piece. They're
okay.
like the new wave of original heavy metal.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. Like that seems to be my thing. Like I said, when it's a newer metal band, because I'm not I don't know what you would say. Like what's been happening in the last decade or
Like the
so.
I
Five.
Prevails, like the
Yeah.
Asking
Yeah.
Alexandrias,
Yeah.
like
Five finger.
whatever they play on Octane.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, like the only time I hit the Octane button is when they're playing Fozzy usually, or something. But uh,
Or Rival
yeah.
Sons.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, they're good. They're totally good. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's I'm not in that demo anymore, so I'm going to play the old man card. I mean, I just turned 41, so I know it's all in how you feel, but
No, I
and
like the
like I said,
classicer sound, and
yeah.
I'm 24, so it's like weird for me to say I'm not really in that angry. Like Falling in Reverse does nothing for me. Ronnie Radke's a douchebag.
Yeah, and all those like quote unquote screamo bands, like it's just they all stole it from Refused anyway, and Refused is still out there doing it and doing it better than any of those
Oh
bands.
yeah, oh
It,
yeah.
it's like why bother, like but yeah, so like the latest Refused album, like War Music, man, that's one that'll kick your butt pretty hard. So yeah, I mean, Refuse. They're probably as old as me right now, or maybe even a little bit older. But man, they're putting out records that are perfect for the climate we're in right now. Not just the current one, but let's say I don't know, roughly last 4 years or so, just to be vague.
I like the Mongolian band, The Who.
Wait. There's a Mongolian band called The Who.
The HU.
Oh, gotcha. That's still a clever name as I'll get out, though. I'm definitely writing that one down. What do they sound like?
They use traditional Mongolian instruments and with
Ooh.
traditional Mongolian throat singing. They have a song on the charts right now featuring some English singing, but they have songs featuring only the Mongolian singing that I suggest you check out.
Well, yeah, you definitely piqued
Elton
my
John's
curiosity.
a big fan of them.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, hey, it's good enough for Elton, right?
Yeah, Elton John's a big fan of them. It's called
Nice.
Yuve and the Great Chinggis Khan.
Yeah.
So just search the HU, and you can definitely their stuff went viral. Like I can see how many views they had for the Wolf Totem, which was their first big video. Wolf Totem. They had a song. They did a remix with Jacoby Shaddix, which got 6 million views, but the original Wolf Totem got 28 million views.
Wow. It's interesting to see who Elton endorses like over the last few years. I like that. Like he was on the Alice in Chains record early, like, decade ago.
He's on the Ozzy record. He
was on the Ozzy record. Did Queens of the Stone Age and 2 cellos. I mean, like he's all over the map. I love that guy. Did you like the movie? Did you see the movie?
Which one?
Rocket Man.
Yes, I did. It made me cry.
I actually enjoyed it, and of course it's going to get that comparison to Bohemian Rhapsody and all that stuff, but I think it blows it. I think
Bohemian Rhapsody, in my opinion.
I think it blows it away, and not that it tells all the truths, but they don't just out and out lie in the way that Bohemian Rhapsody did. They just made shit up in their movie. But it's weird that the bad guy is the same bad guy. Did you know that? The same guy that's like the manager partner guy,
Yeah.
He's the same guy from the Queen thing. Like that's the same guy in real life. He's a total freaking the parasite guy. At least that's the way I've read it. But no, I'm really glad that it something like that, which even kind of claims to be a little shallow on the front end, like it still convey good emotion. That's what I liked about it too.
At least I went to a show in January before all this shit.
Yeah.
I went to the Glorious Sons and Des Rock show.
Oh, that's a good bill. Yeah, absolutely. Did you get to see any wrestling this year?
Yes. I helped out the Monster Factory, and
that's right.
Last year I saw AEW, New Japan, and WWE.
Nice. Yeah, and I can say, I think I could say the same thing actually, with some ROH thrown in there, and I'm still jealous of that photo you got with all of British Strong Style, by the way. That's
yes.
Huge. That I was so jealous when I saw that, man.
Too. They were charging $10, but I was like, I just want to shake your hands, and I don't have money right now, but Trent Seven was like, quickly, I'll get the selfie. Trent Seven was so cool.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. They seem like the nicest guys. Even Pete seems like he's nice. It doesn't seem like he can really hide it too much,
But the Broserweights, so.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here.
No.
Yeah, I got to.
This conversation is supposed to be all over the place.
Yeah.
Tool. I love the new Tool record.
Yeah, I'm not a Tool guy. I'm not a hater. Don't get me wrong.
You're not a hater. Oh, okay. I was just making sure you weren't a hater.
Yeah, I like making fun of the fact that I feel like they out and out just troll their fans endlessly. To an extent.
That is true.
And, because it seemed like, what was the wait between albums? 12 years, something like that?
13. 2006 to 2019, 13.
So we're almost getting into Chinese democracy numbers at that point, almost. And it's just like it
It
seems like
wasn't
they're
a Chinese democracy disappointment.
fair enough, and I'm glad because people are. I've noticed that I have a ton of Tool friends. Don't get me wrong, and it seems like they are enjoying the record. And I don't think anything's worth that wait, but
No, it wasn't
it,
really worth the wait, but it wasn't Chinese democracy levels of disappointment.
good.
If
Yeah,
you take Chinese democracy at base level, it's not really a
no,
bad record.
no, it's not realistic to
That's
even
my hot take
people
of
to do.
hot takes.
Yeah, no, I like
Like
to.
me and BJ, my
Yeah.
co-host for this podcast called Epic Horn Section, where we review records, said it's not a bad album. It's really not.
And he was definitely not happy about that because when you do that inflection, it's you're really struggling with yourself. It's like when people say like you've just paid money for a movie ticket, the movie sucks, and you're like it's good, it was good.
There are some good songs on there. The title track's good. Better
And
is good.
I would say Better is the best song on there, and just to prove my point, I would still cut 90 seconds off of that song.
Yeah.
Like that solo section did not need 2 full sections in it and then a retread of the bridge. You just go home after that, dude.
Yeah, like Sorry didn't need to be like freaking the second best song on that song record.
No. I mean, I truly feel like Chinese democracy killed the Pro Tools era in the sense of recording on Pro Tools. Of course, people use Pro Tools to edit, and that's good. That's what it's kind of was invented for. But I think when people heard that, they're like, we're going to go back to the 2-inch tape. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna go back to tape.
yeah. Because, man, like, it's so processed. Like, like I'm a huge Van Halen fan, and one of my least favorite Van Halen albums is For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Not just because it's Sammy. I like Sammy, but that album you find out later, and it sounds it. Even when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about how long it took to record it, but it took over a year to make that record, and it sounds labored as shit. So so that Chinese democracy is that times 15. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
What's your least favorite radio rock band right now?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. I'd say for the last, because I like to follow all genres just to make sure I don't miss out on anything, because the minute you stop digging is the minute you die as a fan. This is probably a cheat, but I'd say for the last 20 or so years running, it's Maroon 5.
Oh, that's cheating.
Is it cheating?
I was hoping you would say a certain FFDP.
Oh, well, I can't stand them either, and they probably have. Like, I mean, you want to talk about potentially, their fan base, man. Oh, they are.
Oh, I've been to a Five Finger Death Punch concert.
I have too. Don't get me like I know where I speak, so I'm not just talking shit here. I've been amongst that fan base, and here's the thing: I had a chance. What's that?
It's so toxic.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't know anything about. I hadn't heard them before, so I'm going back to probably about 10 years ago at this point. So here's my little concert story here. The lady that cuts my hair is a good friend of mine, and at the time, her younger son, he was like in his teens, and wanted to go to one of those like energy drink festivals, whatever it is,
Oh.
And she was like, I do me a big favor, I'll buy your ticket if you can just take him. And I'm sympathetic to this cause because I know what it's like to be in that position, as that being that kid, And I was like, okay, well, at least Rob Zombie's on the bill. So
yeah, free Rob Zombie ticket.
Yeah, I was like, free Rob Zombie ticket. And I've seen him in a festival setting as well versus, just the regular show he brings. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And so like he was there to see Lamb of God. So that was kind of like me hearing and seeing Lamb of God and Five Finger Death Punch for the first time. Zero impressive on both ends for those bands, but especially Five Finger Death Punch. I saw dudes that were like singing every word of those songs, and this guy.
I'm surprised you weren't impressed with Lamb of God.
I
I have people who
do
tell
nothing
me
for me.
they swear by Lamb of God.
I've heard people do the same thing, but they do absolutely nothing for me. Yes, they can play, but for me, I can't stand the singer. I can't stand the vocals. Seems like a good dude, and I supported him during his jail time. But yeah, I have been through like 3 Lamb of God sets at this point, and they're always opening for like a Slayer or something like that, and they bore the shit out of me. They really do.
I've had the pleasure of having 3 years of press passes to Rock Allegiance.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie was on the bill with Five Finger Death Punch. It was originally Marilyn Manson. This was when Manson broke his leg.
Ah, yes.
So Manson couldn't show up. I was really looking forward to seeing Manson because I interviewed Greta Van Fleet that year.
Okay.
But the story about that is Five Finger Death Punch. They put on an okay show, but nothing really impressive. Gojira really blew my head off.
Oh, I love Gojira. They're such a great band.
And Mastodon. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was. Here was the lineup. Rob Zombie, Five Finger Death Punch, Hailstorm, Mastodon, Gojira, In This Moment, August Burns Red, Steel Panther, Beartooth, Starset, Radkey, Bad Flower, Dead, Greta Van Fleet, Black Map, and Biters, He Is Legend, Them Evils, and more.
Nice. Did you get to check out the Biters that day?
Yeah, I did. I think I interviewed the Biters. I did interview the Biters.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, I've interviewed them too. One of my favorite bands, unfortunately not enough anymore, but since they broke up. But the last 10 years, some of the best rock and roll you'll ever hear.
Yes.
So good.
2018's lineup sucked because I saw Limp Bizkit. Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah, I never had to suffer through a Limp Bizkit set, thankfully. So I got that.
And Motionless in White. Elise Fever 333 and Fozzy were there.
Yeah. Fozzie's good live. Yeah, Hailstorm's good live. With here's that's a good, since you brought up this band, my comparison on Five Finger Death Punch is like, I guarantee you 100% of their fan base love Godsmack. And that's how I feel when I hear that band. It's like, this is the new Godsmack, and now I'm sure there's another new them coming down the pike. And it's just, I hate that stuff. I really do. I fist
bumped Chris Jericho that day. I was like, gold! And he confirmed it on my Instagram. I was like, I got a glimpse of Jericho, and then Jericho was like, true story on my Insta. And but the year I really cherished on Rock Allegiance was 2016 because this was the lineup. Event 7, it was 2 days. Event Sevenfold, Alice in Chains, Slayer, Offspring, Breaking Benjamin, Volbeat, Chevelle, The Cult. I got to interview Ian Astbury. I was the only one at the festival to interview Ian Astbury.
Wow.
The Pretty Reckless, Ghost, Pierce the Veil, Mice and Men, Killswitch, Anthrax, Chevy Metal. That's Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, I know Chevy Metal.
Baroness, Motionless in White, Hell Yeah. So I got to see Hell Yeah.
Nice.
Seven Dust, Buck Cherry. I skipped the Buck Cherry set. Trivium.
That's
Trivium's
fine.
Always good. Max and Igor Cavalera. I got to interview them. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
Avatar, Jim Brewer, Sick Puppies, Amity Affliction, Let Live,
Jeez.
Neck Deep.
Was this like a 4-day festival or something?
This was 2-day.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
A lot of bands. 3 stages.
Yeah, totally.
It was at a soccer stadium.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then
Is that the best festival? Is it the best festival you've ever been to? Do you have like a favorite?
It was the best festival I've ever been
Okay.
to. That's what the press tent was actually a press tent instead of in a room.
Yeah, I've been a few of those also. I always go back. I think my favorite festival that I ever went to was probably Ozfest '99, like overall.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah, I was at 97 and 99 and 2000, but 99, despite some of its flaws, like seeing a few of these great bands just play back to back to back to back, that was pretty great.
What was Ozfest 99? I can look that up.
No, I got it in front of me. It's all good. I had to like check a couple of things to make sure I didn't get my ears confused, but I remember the opener on the main stage that day was Drain STH, who I'm a big fan of, and they put out 2 amazing records. Go check those.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, Drain STH, they were like these supermodels from Sweden that could play like Black Sabbath type stuff. Pretty great. And how they didn't make it in the year that Kitty happened, I'll never know, but I guess they just down the payola.
Later Kenny? You mean?
No, Kitty from Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, because they're terrible. They're sorry, but they're awful. Their music is awful. And Drain STH wrote great catchy songs that were also heavy. But yeah, it's just, and aesthetically also, let's just say, okay. But anyway, so it was them and then System of a Down played right after that. And this was before System broke. I actually had bought the album. I bought the album about a month before I saw them here at Ozfest, and I fell in love with it. I was just starting to go work at a record store at this point, and I couldn't pay people to buy that System record when it came out. And I was like, just, yeah, of course, when Sugar took off, people started buying it. But I remember being there. It was like the Fair Park scene in Spinal Tap with like, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon and like nobody was there hardly. There were a few hundred people there in a shed that could fit 20,000+ people. And there were like maybe 10 people in the whole seating area that were standing up for System. And I was one of them. And I was just like losing my mind the whole time. And then I remember specifically when I sat down after their set, this dude like next to me goes, "Wow, you must really like them." I said, "Yeah, they're fucking phenomenal." But like, yeah, so there's that. They played, and then Godsmack played after them, and I had gone to get something to eat. I came back, and like the place was packed by then, and they're like on their feet singing all the words to the Godsmack songs, and that was like kind of the first. Yeah. Oh, exactly. That's what I came back to, was that song. It was the last song, and it was like I knew I was old right then and there, and I was old. I was only 20 years old at the time, and I never have felt older in my life besides the time I saw Korn the first time. Those are the times I felt really old. But then the good outweighs the bad, because after that, I literally got Primus, Slayer, Deftones, Rob Zombie, Sabbath. And that was my lineup for the rest of the day. So, and Kerry King came up during Zombie's set to play Thunder Kiss 69. So.
Oh, that's fucking badass. What was 2000s?
2000, I didn't see the whole day. We got in there just in time because Godsmack was playing before Pantera. So we definitely made it in there for Pantera and Ozzy. We literally won free tickets. And the lineup being what it was, in our opinion that day, there was only one good band playing. And I don't even know if they made it to our town, but Queens of the Stone Age were playing early during the day.
August 24th through 30th.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think they even made it to the Dallas show. But we saw Pantera and Ozzy play full sets, so nothing wrong with a night like that. So.
Oh,
that was the last time I saw Pantera.
This lineup is fucking good, except for Godsmack.
I'm really not a fan of any of those bands. Black Label's all right, and I just don't like any of those. I like Static X a little bit, but not enough to.
Did you hear the new Static X stuff?
I like them okay. I like the second album a lot.
Crazy Town, no.
Yeah.
If you were at the July 2nd through 4th ones, Crazy Town was booted off the tour.
Oh, good. Yeah,
2000.
well, they weren't selling records yet then. They didn't start selling records until like just after that. I'm pretty sure that's the timeline. But I remember they were trying to pimp that record for like 2 years before it hit. Like it was out forever, and then somebody finally paid somebody to play it on the radio. So yeah, but
And
yeah,
it
I
got
just
to number one on the Billboard Hot 100.
well, that just proves that there's no accounting for taste sometimes. So I
Oh,
don't think the Hot
no.
100 has been relevant to me for at least 25 years probably at this point, if not more. And that's an old man thing
Oh,
to say, but
97. Holy fuck.
yeah, I was there. I was at that one.
The second stage is good too.
Yeah,
Downset, slow
yeah,
burn, cold chamber. Cold chamber
yeah.
was endorsed by Ozzy.
Yeah, no, I know that Sharon managed them too. And Drainage TH played that day too on the second stage. I met them that day. Neurosis, man, come on. Forget
Neurosis,
about it. Neurosis is
Vision of
one of the best.
Distorter.
Yeah, I've seen them live
What
so
did
many
you think
times. I
about
think I lost
their
count.
cover of Shock the Monkey with Ozzy?
It's okay. It's, and man, I have a limited time for Cold Chamber, but there is something about their music that was very interesting to me. And, they were obviously musically kind of a Korn clone, but I thought they were better players than them at least.
Power Man
So
5000. You
I
had
love
Machine
Power
Head.
Man. Yeah.
Machine Head, Rob is a dick, but
Yeah, he is. I followed that whole dope beef that lasted a whole day last year.
Fear Factory. Fear
Yeah, I could
Factory's
see.
great.
Yeah, I could
Typo.
see.
What
Oh yeah,
what can you go wrong with Typo?
never.
Pantera,
Yeah,
Manson, an Ozzy Osbourne show, and a Sabbath set.
yeah, because Ozzy played about an hour, and then Sabbath played about 45 minutes after that, and it was the Mike Borden drum-led Sabbath because they were just kind of sneaking back into the getting to know each other thing again. So, and I actually didn't get to see Manson, unfortunately. I wish I could brag about seeing him at Ozfest, but I did at least see him at a really nice intimate theater on the Hollywood tour. And at the
Oh.
time, they were one of the best live bands on the planet. I truly believe that, and I wish,
Who was in the
I
band?
don't.
Who was in Manson's band at the time? Was it?
At the time when I saw them, the Hollywood lineup, that was like their best lineup because it was basically the Mechanical Animals lineup. Also, as John Five was playing lead at that
Yeah, I
point.
was asking if it was John Five.
Yeah, it was definitely John Five. And Pogo, Ginger, they were all there. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's a really good playing band. 96 is a good lineup too. Neurosis, Fear Factory, Sepultura, Biohazard.
yeah, that's the one that wound up on the CD. They only did those three shows like out in the Southwest area and one in Canada. But yeah,
At
that's where it
least
started was those three shows. So
UK lineup. Holy fuck.
yeah, they would always change it too. Like yeah,
The UK lineup in 98 is Pitch Shifter, Entombed, Head PE, Human Waste Project, Life of Agony, and Cold Chamber. Main stage was Korn canceled. Therapy replaced them.
that's an upgrade in my opinion.
That's an upgrade. Fear Factory, Slayer, Soulfly.
Yeah, because they're big. I think they at that point they were a little bit bigger in England, and Slayer just came off a unfan friendly record, so that's why they were
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit further down.
Diabolos Musica.
Yeah, which I don't mind actually. I like it more than most people do.
We listened to that record.
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked it a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. It's people are
Pantera,
hearing stuff. Yeah, Pantera, of course.
Foo Fighters.
Can you imagine that follow? Like, how do you follow? Yeah, I love the Foo Fighters. That's one of the best rock shows I've ever seen. But I can't imagine what the Foo Fighters sound like after a Pantera set because I've seen Pantera many times in my life. I'll brag. And most bands can't follow them. So
The,
I can only
the
imagine how that
Pantera,
came out.
Foo Fighters, Ozzy, and Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
I'd be done after that. and then
Yeah.
and then the U.S. This U.S. show is insane.
Well, yeah, like just looking at because I'm on Wiki like you are, I'm sure right now. The top three bands on the second stage, I wish I could bottle that into a touring bill. That's an amazing touring bill just right there.
The top four. The top four.
Yeah.
Incubus, Melvins, System of a Down, and Motorhead.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not as an opener?
Yeah, like in the middle of the day. Yeah. Uh, yeah,
That's
no, I know. And then your top three, because, I mean, definitely Seven Dust and Deftones are good on there, but the top three on that main lineup, Megadeth, Tool, Ozzy.
Megadeth Tool.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. See, we had it so good. We didn't know how good we had it, I don't think. So.
No, we did not.
Yeah, you were probably like in single digits at that point for sure. You were like probably
96, I was born.
wow. Yeah, so you didn't have a shot. I'm sorry, dude. I mean, but we all have our arch nemesis though. Like I talk to dudes that I've worked with at the past that went to Rolling Stone shows 10 miles down from where I live, like in a relatively conservative hall. They saw them back in that day with like three
Talk
other
for a
killer
really
bands.
long time. Go on a really long rant.
Yeah. Me?
Because I have to show somebody my pillbox.
Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, we do have those people that we run into. Like I know a bunch of quote unquote old guys that I know that can brag about seeing Zeppelin like just down the street, like probably 10 minutes from where I live right now. Stones 10 minutes from where I live. It's really stupid. But then like on the flip side of it, like what I'm doing right now with Danny, bragging about seeing these bills. Like I work with people that are young enough now, people like Danny that are in their early 20s. They're barely 20 at this point. And if I tell them that I saw the Smashing Pumpkins in the 90s, they're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. I mean, you could go see them still with almost the same lineup, but they're like, oh, you saw them then. Oh. And, I got to see the Ramones.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that was really quick that I came back.
well, that's all right, man. I was just bragging about the fact that I got to see the Ramones too. So.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Well, that was it. You'll like this story because this was at Lollapalooza '96, the year that Metallica headlined.
Oh,
And what happened, and yeah, I'll tell you about the bands that I made a point to see that day. I'll tell you real quick, and then I'll tell you the story. So I saw a cool band on AMREP called the Cows. The Melvins played on that same side stage. Then there was a cool upstart band that didn't make it, but I really enjoyed them. They're called Psychotica. And then Screaming Trees played. And then I saw Rancid, Ramones, Soundgarden, and Metallica. That was back to back to back to back. And Steve Earle played before all of those bands. But the thing about, I actually had a quick conversation online with CJ Ramone, the bass player at the time. And CJ does his solo thing right now. And he's a good dude. He's always online there. And I read a story in my local free paper after this gig happened that CJ was a photo finish even making it to the show because they had this Lollapalooza like in the middle of nowhere on this like farmland, like about half hour outside of Dallas. There's nothing out there. It's like that's probably where they hide the UFOs in Texas. But but it was like 110 degrees that day. I remember that on the ground. It was ridiculous. The Ramones still were there in their leather jackets. But CJ barely made it to the show. Apparently, he didn't break pace as he pulled up in his motorcycle, strapped on his guitar, right out on stage for the first note. But what happened was CJ wasn't traveling with the Ramones anymore because they had actually already broken up. And they played their last shows together that they said were their last shows. And what happened was Soundgarden and Rancid and Metallica as a collective basically begged them to do Lollapalooza because they wanted to play shows with them because they were all fans. So the Ramones agreed to do it one last payday, And so CJ, kind of being the younger guy in the band at that point, I theorized that his heart was kind of broken over the band breaking up. So he just basically took off and traveled with this biker gang that he took up with, riding buddies. And so him being a photo finish that day, number one, they got lost apparently because he told me this. And number two, they had gotten detained by the cops a couple of times. So he was just like, signed a few autographs. They let us go. But yeah, if he hadn't found that place at the last minute, I would have never gotten to see the Ramones. But I got to see them play for like an hour and change. It's still one of the best sets I've ever seen.
Wow. route, and other bands that weren't on your day but were main stage on selected date. The Rage Against the Machine,
Mm-hmm.
the Cockatoo Twins, the Scottish rock band.
Yeah, Cocteau Twins, yeah.
Cockatoo Twins, Cheap Trick.
Yep.
Violent Femmes, the Tea Party, Wu-Tang Clan, Devo, and 311.
Yeah, I really wish I could have been at the Devo show. I think that was in California. There's good footage of that online too, but I've never seen Devo. But Rage would have done. But ours was Steve Earle. We got Steve Earle that day.
Copperhead Road, baby. Copperhead Road.
Yeah. And he was fine. It was funny because he was like just fresh out of prison apparently. And there were all these like teenage kids throwing plastic water bottles at him, like from the front. And he just kept flipping them off the whole set. He was like, dude, I just got out of prison. You're not scaring me in the least right now.
Some of the side stage bands were Ben Folds 5,
Yeah.
Soul Coughing.
Yeah, I love Soul Coughing.
Sponge, Melvins, Fireside.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Some of these Lollapalooza lineups are crazy.
Yeah, that was a really neat Lollapalooza. Even though Perry Farrell had moved on at that point from the festival, he actually did his own counter festival that year. But I still say, man, there's a lot of variety there, and I think it actually kept decently in line with the original, kind of conversation of what Lollapalooza was. Although I still say, as an overall alternative festival, it's really hard to beat their first year because
Which
that
was 91.
91, yeah, they literally had something for everybody there. Because I mean, you got everybody from Susie and the Banshees to Body Count on that stage. So
Yeah.
I think that as far as like alternative music, if you're talking about that, that's probably the greatest alternative tour that ever happened in a sense. So
Yeah, 92, that was great.
yeah, 92 was like it was a cash-in year, but man, they had a lineup that would definitely put
Ministry, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, Ice Cube, Jesus and the Mary Chain, Pearl Jam, and Lush.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
And in New Jersey, they got fucking Tool.
Yeah, and Tool would show up to some of those shows, by the way, and not play a single note. Not even kidding about that. If you haven't heard about that, and they would stand on stage naked and with tape on their mouths and protest censorship.
Corner of a Pyros would play. We Got a Tribe. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, oh, for sure. And like later years, you get Beastie Boys, P-Funk, Pumpkins, Primus, Fishbone, like all they got them all. They checked off every box in that genre for sure.
Yeah, now Ghost has played Lollapalooza a few times. The real one in Chicago and the knockoffs in Brazil, Chile.
Yeah. Like they brought back Rock in Rio, like kind of as far as like a conversation in America again. There was so much footage coming out of Rock in Rio last year on YouTube that like all pro shot feed stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I've
full
seen
sets. So cool, like Anthrax and freaking Alice Cooper, just every Weezer, everybody played that thing. It's ridiculous.
Oh, everybody played that thing last year.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember MTV actually promoting Rock in Rio, like around, it was like 91 or 92.
Bon Jovi played it.
Oh, yeah. Bon Jovi it's crazy to think like Bon Jovi is such an American band on the surface when you think about it. Like they're truly like an Americana band. But they got so big overseas. It was crazy. Like, like Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
When they closed the initial Wembley Stadium down, because there's a different one now, but the old Wembley Stadium, the one that Live Aid happened at, and Queen, and all that stuff. When they closed, the last shows that were put on were 2 sold out nights, 2 nights of Bon Jovi. So they were like 20 times bigger in Europe and everywhere else than they ever were in America. Fathom that.
So here were the last Rock in Rio lineups.
Oh no.
In 2015.
Do the highlights. Because there's going to be like 300 bands on that film.
Oh my god. So the there was a female night with No Doubt and Pretty Reckless with Foster the People and Gary Clark Jr. Then the rock day was Metallica, Linkin Park, Rise Against, Hollywood Undead, Deftones, Sepultura featuring Steve Vai, Cody and Cambria, and Of Mice and Men.
It's a weird lineup. It's interesting.
They had an EDM stage for some reason too.
Yeah. You could go anywhere. Like you can have an EDM festival in Abu Dhabi and it'll do well. I'm not even kidding about that.
No, I know.
It's everywhere.
But Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, the last time they had it in Vegas.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars, John Legend. But the Rock in Rio in 2019, everyone played it.
It's like everybody from Shakira to Slayer will play that thing, So.
Rock in Rio 8. Where is it?
You should go back and look up the old ones from the 80s and early 90s. It's just, they're ridiculous. I mean, yeah, the cool thing is they support their own culture too. There's a lot of Brazilian bands.
Yeah.
And I remember Rollins. You like Henry Rollins, Talking Stuff? You ever listen to that?
Yeah, I do.
He's got this crazy story where he played a soccer stadium in Rio, and the lineup was the Lemonheads, the Rollins band, and Mr. Big. That was the show.
Rock in Rio 2019. Here it is. The festival was insane. It was 10 days. Dave Matthews Band. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's about 300 bands on that bill, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere in the ballpark of that.
Nickelback.
Oh.
It had an Iron Maiden, Scorpions, Megadeth, and Sepultura day.
Sure, yeah.
Great Cardi B, BB Rexa, Foo Fighters. Everybody and your mother played that thing.
Yeah, it's how does a festival like that, even if the whole town shows up, it's how do they make any money? Do the bands do it for free? Did they kidnap a member of their family? What goes on?
The older ones, Queen.
It's not Queen.
Queen played one, yeah.
Well, they played one of the. Oh yeah, they played back in the day. I'm not talking about what passes for it nowadays. Yeah, no. But yeah, no. There's good footage of that show out there. So yeah, where it's
the Rock and Rio 8. It was only 2, 4, 6, 7 days.
Only.
Only.
Like WrestleMania week. There's something going on every day.
Foo Fighters, Weezer, Tenacious D.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Pink, Black Eyed Peas, and Her. Muse, Imagine Dragons, and Nickelback.
1 out of 3 is okay, I suppose.
Guns N' Roses, The Who, and Incubus on the one in 2017.
Wow.
Bon Jovi, Tears for Fears, and Alter Bridge. That's a weird one.
I've only seen one of those. Say what? Real quick pop quiz. I've seen one of those 3 bands live. Which one was it?
Alter Bridge.
No.
Tears for Fears.
Yes. I saw them 2 years ago.
How were they?
They were good, actually. I'm not even highly inflected there. You talk about how I like a good troll. They opened the show with Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And
that is fantastic.
Yeah, it was I remember it so well because it was a co-headline with Hall & Oates, and yes, I'm a fan. What happened?
I'm from Philadelphia, so I have to be
a
fan.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I have to be a fan of Hall & Oates. Yeah, love them. Okay, so what happened was I remember this song came up on the PA, and I think it was actually a what I call a dystopian cover of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And they play like about 30 seconds of that, and then they come on stage, they start playing the song. I've never seen people do the two-step downstairs that quickly with a handful of nachos and Cokes and stuff. And they're all like, holy shit, you know? I mean, it was like everybody was beelining to their seats, and the place was maybe half full at that point, if that.
So
And
they
I
were
was just
going to do a concert called Hoagie Nation on May 23rd. Now it's up in the air due to coronavirus. It was Daryl Hall, John Oates, Squeeze,
wow,
Kool and the Gang,
nice.
The Hooters, Blues Travel. Yeah, it's festival.
Well, you're the Hooters. That's big time in Philly still. Like
Yes.
I hear that. Yeah, like I know for a fact they're from there, and I know like some of their offshoots still get together sometimes, and they got a nice following down there.
Yeah, they do get together a lot, and they got together. The offshoots got together. Ardmore Music Hall. I live in Bryn Mawr, so I live right by Ardmore Music Hall.
Yeah, I actually one of my good friends who lives not too far from where I live. She's a massive fan of the A's, if that means anything to you.
Oh yes, I've heard of the A's.
Yeah, that they're like the early Hooters, I guess, or something like that to that effect.
Yes.
You didn't think we would talk about that when you woke up this morning, did you?
No.
If you ever see a guy named David Usikinen, he plays drums for the Hooters. I need you to make friends with him.
I've heard of him.
I need you to make friends with him so I can get him to come on my show at some point, because he actually played drums on an Alice Cooper record. So at some point I want to interview him.
I'm friends with college professor David Ivory.
Yeah.
He produced the first Hailstorm record.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I like that record.
He discovered Hailstorm essentially.
Nice. That's really cool, man. Oh man.
So
yeah. I'm out of gas, man. Is it cool
I'm
to
out
wrap this up?
of gas too. How much longer do we want to go?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I think that's a good high note to go out on. I guess
plugs.
No, top of the show I did it. cnjradio.com. Go check that out. Run all the streaming services and all that stuff for free. But of course, cnjradio.com is the best place to find us. Look up Rock Strikes 10 on Facebook, and you can message me on there. Tell me how much you hate me for not liking for trashing half the bands I talked about on the show today. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll post this later. You can follow me on Twitter at DJDCooks. And yeah, a lot of good band talk. We talked about a lot of festivals. So thank you all for joining us, and have a good day.